guys, welcome to the next video on the chapter Manufacturing Industries. In the previous video, we discussed about the location of the industries and the classification of industries. In this video, we will be discussing the agro-based industries. Now, agro-based industries are those industries which take the major raw material from the agriculture. Now, that could be your textile industries or that could also be your sugar industry. So, let's discuss textile industry. Now, textile industry is one of the most important industries in India, specifically because India has a lot of raw materials from cotton, from jute, and also textile industry's relevance is in the fact that it is India's only self-reliant and complete in the value chain industry. Now, what do we mean by that? It means that in all the processes, your fiber production, spinning, weaving, dyeing, garment manufacture, your raw material is from the previous step. So, if we take spinning takes in the raw material, raw fiber. Now, spinning produces yarn. Now, yarn will be used in the weaving and knitting. Now, this fabric that is produced by weaving and knitting, that is the major raw material for dyeing and finishing. And when dyeing and finishing is done, it is the raw material for garment manufacture. So, this creates a value chain in which the self-reliance is from this chain itself. You are not dependent on other industries primarily. Now, some other facts about this industry is that 14% of industrial production is from this industry, textile. It provides occupation to 35 million people and foreign exchange earnings is around 25% and it contributes 4% to our GDP. So these are some of the numbers that are there. Now let's look at the cotton textiles. Now, cotton material we already know it has been going on from a lot of centuries ago as well. India has been producing cotton products. In fact, this is what attracted the Europeans to our shores. So, this is one of the beginnings of our manufacturing industries. Now, cotton industries originally were used with hand spinning and handloom weaving only. There were no modern materials. So, generally only with the handlooms at a lot of rural areas you had handloom weavers who were manufacturing your cotton garments. Something like this with a charkha. Then you had your competition from mill-made cloth in England, because England at that time was ruling India and they were taking the raw material from India, the cotton, and producing machine-made garments, and that was a major competition to our cotton industry, and that was basically the downfall of our industries. Now, in the present scenario, we see that a lot of cotton and human-made fiber textile mills have come up in the country, and majority of them are in private hands. So, they are private industries. Government does not have a lot of stake in this cotton textiles. And you see that it is divided in a lot of states of the country, not just limited to a particular state. But if we look at the previous situation, what was the previous scenario was that if you look at the cotton production, majority of it was coming from Maharashtra and Gujarat. And if you remember the video from the chapter Agriculture where we discussed the production of cotton as a raw material, you would remember that with the black soil, majority of our black soil was there near Maharashtra and Gujarat. So those were the major areas where raw cotton would be available, and because of that you had your Maharashtra and Gujarat as cotton industry centers. Also port facilities were there, moist climate and transport facilities were good. That was the reason your majority of the cotton industries were there. Now today the transport is not a big problem because we have major ports almost in all the country, and we have a lot of road transport, rail transport as well. So spinning is still centralized in Maharashtra, Gujarat, but you will see that weaving is decentralized. So you have various local communities where you have weaving being done, you have weaving industries coming up. So right now, cotton is manufactured, cotton industries are there in majority of the countries. Now its contribution, you will see that it accounts for 25% of total trade for the world. So you will see that cotton yarn is the one which is being produced and traded among countries. India provides 25% of that. 1/4 of the total trade is done by India. Now, India also has the second largest capacity of spindles. And the thing about cotton industry is that it supports other industries like chemicals, dyes, packaging and engineering. So these are the centers where we export. Japan, USA, UK, Russia. So majority of the developed economies we export our cotton to. Now let's move on to the challenges that are faced by this industry. Now first thing is that the most important challenge that it is facing is this. Stiff competition from synthetic fiber. Now these days you rarely see majority of your products being manufactured by cotton, because these days you have your synthetic material, and that is the reason because this is very low cost. So this ensures that there is stiff competition to our cotton industry. Also another thing is that our power supply in this local areas is erratic, which the government is looking into, but right now the situation is that the power supply is erratic. Then India produces a lot of high quality yarn, but we don't have supporting weaving, knitting and processing units which can use this high quality yarn. So because of that, India has to export its yarn. Also, you will see that the modern factories are low in number and large factories are also low in number. Generally in India you will see that it is generally a small scale or medium scale industries that are there. So you don't see large scale industries and modern factories are not there. So production is limited to fragmented small units. Now, moving on to the jute textiles. So India is one of the largest producers of jute textile, and it is also the second largest exporter of jute, the largest being Bangladesh. So India has around 80 jute mills and it provides employment to around 3.7 lakh workers. So it also supports a lot of small and marginal farmers because they are the ones who are manufacturing jute raw material. So as we discussed in our production of raw material of jute, we know that jute is manufactured primarily in this region. So you will see that Bangladesh produces a lot of jute, West Bengal produces a lot of jute, and this area, this belt is rich in jute production. Hence, you see that a lot of your jute is manufactured, jute industries are in this area. So most of the jute mills will be located in West Bengal along the banks of Hooghly River. Now, reason: proximity to jute producing areas, then inexpensive water transport, good railways, roadways, and most important thing is cheap labor. So you will get cheap labor in this particular area of Jharkhand, Bihar, you have Odisha, Chhattisgarh. So from these areas you get a lot of cheap labor, and because of that this is a region of extensive jute industries. Now the challenges that are faced by this is that again the same challenge that cotton was facing, your synthetic substitutes. So other countries like Bangladesh, Brazil, Philippines, Egypt and Thailand are also producing jute. So they are also competing with India for jute markets, and you have synthetic substitutes which are providing another competition. Now government has come up with an initiative for national jute policy. This has ensured that the productivity and the production of jute has increased in the country. So this was about the textile industries with cotton and jute. Now let's move on to the sugar industry. Sugar again is an industry that is very important. The raw material being sugarcane, which has different sucrose content, and sucrose content decreases in the raw material when it is transported. Hence, you need your industries next to the raw material producing areas. So, you will see that the location is in belts where you have a lot of sugarcane production. So, your sugarcane production is in this area, and this area. So, you will have your industries in this area. So, you will have UP, Bihar, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana. So, your northern belt, your western belt, and your southern states having production for sugarcane. So, here you will have your sugar industries. India is the second largest producer of sugar and the largest producer of gur. So, these are some of the facts. The challenges that this industry faces is that it is seasonal in nature. You have the sowing is done in the summer season and it takes around 10 to 18 months for it to mature, the crop to mature. So, it is a seasonal industry. Then, also another thing is that even though the conditions favorable to sugarcane is in this area, the majority of the sugarcane produced is in this area, in the northern. So, because of that, you have low sucrose content here, you have high sucrose content here. But still, the production is high here because there is competition from other cash crops like coffee, tea. So, because of these, the sugarcane is primarily in this area rather than being in this area, even though it will have higher sucrose content in this area. Now, this covers our sugar industry and your textile industries. In the next video, we'll be covering our mineral based industries. Okay, till then, bye.